What is going on, everyone? Vex30 here, coming in with my long-awaited Season 2 competitive support tier list. Now, I know I have done another tier list for patch 2.01, but that was a pre-patch 2.1, and they were kind of guesses to where I think these champions are going to be, but now I have a more of definitive answer where I think they're going to be in the meta, so I'm here to share it with you. But before I get started, I wanted to mention, because I always get asked this question, I do this tier list through the site Paladins Guru. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but it's a great website I use for everything Paladins. I know there's a few of them, but I use this for my tier list. This is how I make them. So check out Paladins Guru. Again, not sponsored by them, but figured I'd give them a shout out because I use their website every single time, and it's, you know, it feels proper to do it. So let's get right into the video. Let's start talking about these supports and where I think they are. So number one on the list here is Furia. Now, Furia, I think I was pretty spot on about. I had an inclination that she's going to come back into the meta because of the item shop unlocking. And that's one of the main reasons being she stays the same and she stays at S. The big thing that really helps her, like I said, is the item shop unlocking, because her ults and her heals are amazing and they work extremely well on morale boosting Kronos. She has high cooldowns on all of her abilities. The right click isn't very high, but it still works very well on. And her beam is a 10-second cooldown. I believe it's right around 10 seconds. I'm not looking at it right now. It's around there. In her one of her cards got buffed. I can't remember. Oh, I cannot remember the name of it right now. I should have looked it up for this video. But it's the one where you dash when your balls hit somebody per ball, and it decreases the cooldown of your beam. That got buffed, and that really helped her on more open maps where those solar balls can hit people. The big thing with her ultimate is, again, I always judge ultimates based on how good and how easy. Her ultimate is extremely good and extremely easy. All you have to do is hit it at the right time for your team, and your team is just getting buffed with 30% damage and movement speed. It's amazing. She is doing amazing currently. She is finding her way into comps, into different situations, and her damage is still better than your average support. Furia still has that advantage of being a damage heavy support who can fight off flankers, especially when she has her full wrath bar. So she is doing really well in the meta, and to be honest, Solar Blessing is the legendary to go on Furia. Cherish, if it was just Cherish, I'd probably put her at A+, maybe A, but because of Solar Blessing, she's staying at S. And Furia, glad to see you back in the meta, to be honest. Now, the next sport we're going to talk about, I thought had potential, but it died off. Grohk. Grohk went from A+ down to A. Now, I talked about his potential with Spirit's Domain with the buff, but the issue I see with it is Grohk has no self-sustain besides his totem. But if you use your totem on yourself, you will lose so much healing, and it takes away from any advantage he has against other healers. He does bring a lot of healing with Spirit's Domain plus the totem. He can insta-heal a tank back up. But Spirit's Domain has two things bad with it. Limited range, and you have to leave yourself vulnerable for a long time to heal a tank or an ally. The thing with other supports, take Furia for instance, she can throw a beam through walls to heal a tank, or she can peek out real quick, right click the tank and hide again. Grohk doesn't do that. Grohk moves in the open, keeps his beam on his allies, and is like, please nobody hit me, please nobody hit me, please all you hit me. I guess I have to use my totem on myself. Sorry ally way over to the right that I can't heal. I'm not going to heal you because I don't have a totem and I can't reach you. He has so many issues with him. There's so much potential to this legendary if it just can get a buff on his self-sustain to help him. Because if he's going to be standing in the open, he needs more, he needs to heal more or do more something. Grohk is going to move down to A. I thought he had potential, but it's just not there. Next on the list is Grover. Now Grover, surprisingly, I put it S on the pre, but I really do feel like this is weird to tier him like this, but I'm gonna move him on up to S+. Now, there's a couple things and a couple reasons S+. I'll explain it as we go along. But again, like Furia, opening up the item shop to Grover really, really helps him, because Kronos is amazing on Grover. His heal cooldown is high. Kronos affects that extremely well, affects his Vine and his Cripple. It helps his whole kit, and then being able to buy morale boost, his ultimate is a game changer. If you were good with Grover ult, even late game it falls off, right? If your tank is smart and you have a good tank, especially in competitive, we have good tanks. When you ult, they will have a shield, or you communicate you have ult and they save their shield for when you ult. They throw up their shield, put up a wall on Inara, do something to get out of caught just for that 1 second so they can get insta topped off by the ultimate. So morale boost helps them so much in competitive, and Kronos is already good. But what I was talking about earlier is it's weird to tier him like this. I feel like Grover is S+ on certain maps, but he is about S and S- on different maps. Now, these maps he's S+ on are being Bright Marsh, Jag Falls, Stone Keep, Serpent Beach, Frog Isle, and Ice Mines were a little bit iffy, but I see potential on him though for those maps, doing a lot of damage, having a lot of good spam angles. Just his range is just enough to reach both sides almost. So I'm going to keep him S+ on those maps, and the rest I'd put him S or S-. But since about even or slash majority, it's even because there's 12 maps, 6 of them he's S+. Since he's even 50%, I put him at S+. It's weird to put him there and base him on that, but he is a map dependent champion. And if he's not on one of those 6 maps, I feel like he's a little bit lower, but he's still a really good healer with Rampant Blooming. Getting his buff to his radius, that was another big thing. He got a buff to his base passive radius. He got it from Efflorescence, 50% bonus to it. But what was happening early on in the PTS is it was still getting diminished for some reason. For Verdant Expanse and his base increased passive, but it shouldn't have. I pointed out, some other people pointed out, the devs looked at it and fixed it almost immediately. And now Grover feels so amazing to play, and I'm so happy to see him higher on this list. And there's not just a single king anymore. Now, this champion has been so meh for a while now. He hasn't went up, he hasn't went down, he hasn't changed much since what I predicted. But he's gotten overall better over the past few patches, and that is Jenos. He stays the same at S-. Jenos still has some issues when it comes to healing double tank and being a single support. He can't burst heal those tanks like other supports can. It's a big issue. Even with % max health, it's not enough to heal them in time because his passive is low and the burst heal is low. Like, compare his right click to a Damba right click. It just does not compare. Now, what Jenos does bring is Luminary, 15% increased damage. So that does make him very niche. And some of the comps I see him working in is 3 DPS, 1 tank, 2 lower health tanks like a Barrack Torv comp, and 2 DPS, or 2 tanks, 2 supports, and 1 DPS. Now, the last one, he isn't as good because there are better off supports than Jenos, but it's just an example. He can work in those comps, but he can't really solo heal 2 healthy tanks, which is mainly the main comp a lot of people run. I want to see a couple changes to Jenos. What you can do is buff his niche and make him better at what he is niche at. It's hard to say that right, but you can increase his passive heal, his ticking over time heal by a decent bit, or you can make him a better healer overall and give him a base 300 to 400 burst heal. Couple ways to balance him. It just depends on which direction Evo Mojo wants to go with Jenos. Leave that up to them. Those are just my suggestions. Now, next one is some people say I have a bias to this champion, not Jenos. I don't have a bias to Jenos. I don't. I just really think this champion is the most well-rounded, best designed champion in the game, and that is Maldamba. I've said this many a time. He's gotten better this patch, and he hasn't became OP, but he's gotten better, even better than before, and I already thought he was good because of getting rid of base kit CCR, or in the loadout crowd control reductions. His fear was his only weak point because how bad it was. For a time, the reason why Ying really got the credit she did last patch or last season of competitive is because, for one, Damba couldn't fear through shields of tanks, and that's one of the biggest pick potentials is you get a Nando low, you fear him out of his shield, and you kill him. You couldn't do that because Nandos would just block the fear with their shield. Another issue, when they fixed that, you just fear him and he has a lot of crowd control reduction. He gets hit by it and immediately gets out of it and runs away. Now that you get rid of that, he's a lot better early game without resilience. And we are leaving him at S+. He doesn't change at all. He is still a really good healer, but he's not on top anymore. I think these supports are a lot closer than I make them out to be. Supports, besides one, and it's not the one you think, is just not in the race. But the rest, are doing really well this patch, honestly. And now, I say it's not the one you think. There's one champion that I've been ripping on, I didn't think was very good, but I gave a chance. And everybody, and every champion, and everything deserves a chance. I've given it a chance, and it's kind of showed what it can do. I've seen the potential, and based on their kit, I could see it working. Pip. Pip is gaining 3 spots on this tier list and moving to S-. Now, Pip Combat Medic still sucks, alright? But Mega Potion does have some credibility in a competitive environment. When you can use your voice and communicate to your team to stack and for 2 people to get heal and use your heals efficiently and have amazing ultimates because you can communicate, ulting point, look at point. Everybody turns the point, kills the chicken immediately, even with Resi 2. You kill the chicken immediately and they're already down somebody. Between Mega Potion and having team communication and his ultimate being one of the best in the game in a higher level environment, Pip gets some spotlight in this tier list. Now, not the highest, but I could see him working his way into certain compositions and making his rounds and being played. But that's just what I think. Pip, I want to see him. I want to see him being played more. I think he has potential. I'm not sure. I can see it. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel for him. But let's just see how he develops. Next one is apparently a crowd favorite, Seris. I know everyone loves Seris, to be honest. It really seems, between my comments and everything, people love Seris. And I do too. But nothing really changed with her. They added Void Abides in her base kit, which was nice. But she's not moving anywhere. She's staying at S-. She's still alright. She leaves you wanting, though, when it comes to utility and ultimates. Her ultimate is okay. It's not great. It's countered by a decent bit. It's okay. It's not great. It's not bad. And Agony has some potential, but 4 stacks is just too much. At competitive levels, people just don't let you stack them that easy. It's not how that works. When you're playing against good players, they're not going to stand there like, stack me, I want to get stunned, thanks. It's not how it works. I wish it was. I really want it to work, but it doesn't. My change for Seris, I think, is still what you can do with her. Make Agony be scaling. 1 stack does 0.2 seconds of a stun. 2 stacks, 0.4, maybe 0.1 second. Have it be a mini stun. 1 stack is a 0.1 stun. And have it go up to 5 stacks, up to 0.5 second stun. Mini stuns are really nice and not in this game. Something to disorient your opponent and maybe break shields on tanks. You can stack a tank once, they can't put up their shield for a little bit. Now, that seems a little bit insane, but it's a good tank counter and it would bring that utility to Seris that she needs. Or add something in her loadouts to, when you're healing, the target that's getting healed gets movement speed. Maybe like 7% movement speed or 6 scaling. Like, there's so many things that needs to be done to Seris to bring her. I think the utility side is just lacking. I really want her to see her played, but I don't see it yet compared to the other supports and what they bring, to be honest. I'm sorry, I love you, Seris, but it's just not there for me. And finally, last but not least, everyone's favorite waifu, Ying. Oh, Ying, how the good fall. Wow. Ying loses 2 spots on this list and moves down to A+. She's a heal bot stuck in a utility meta. It's just how it is. Even though Kots were gotten rid of, that's all she does is heal. She's good for high healing numbers and a good ultimate, but that's it. She trades the high healing for no damage and no utility. But the healing now, since they nerfed life exchange by 1 second, the cooldown, is now comparable to other supports due to the nerf and is not even that strong for a heal bot. She brings nothing else to the table besides good healing. Like, other supports do good healing. Like, the top supports bring good healing comparable to Ying's, good utility, good everything. That's what makes a good support, all aroundness. And Ying just doesn't have that. She just does one thing. It's really disappointing. I wish she has something, she could bring something else to the table, to be honest. I'm okay with her as she is, right? I'm okay having a heal bot in the game. I like that. It's good for new players to learn supports. Don't get me wrong, I think it's good for the game, but at a competitive level, it just does not work. Like some of my suggestions are at a competitive level though. Some of these supports need to stay where they're at for the whole player base. Ying is one of them, and I think Jenos is one of them. They help newer players get into the support role and enjoy it. So it's very hard to balance them competitively and keep them at a level where they're easy enough for newer players to play and have a good time with. Because I want everybody to be a support main. That's just how I feel. Like everybody should try it. It's a better role than people think. But Ying competitively won't be viable. You can't change her much though, because she needs to stay how she is. She's a good new support for newer players. So Ying, I love you. You're still the best, but you're gonna go down on this list and not see much play, to be honest. Now that is it for our main supports. That is it for most of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you agree, if you disagree, let me know down in the comments. I'm down to, talk about what you think and what you think is right, wrong. It's all good. I like it. I enjoy the conversation. But this is my tier list. This is where I think everybody's at. But let's do a real quick note on a couple, like mainly one thing I think could be something in the near future. I don't know though. It's something I have to test a lot more. Let's talk about Skye for a second. If I were to tier Skye, I'd put her at possible Grohk level until more testing is done. Grohk level with the potential of S-. She's gonna fall within here. Her healing is already pretty good. She brings a decent bit of damage. She's not gonna have highest healing in the game, but she brings for a good off support. So I'd leave her down with Grohk for now, but I do see potential of Skye as an off support if it's played right and in a competitive environment. The rest, say Moji, no. It's just don't talk about Moji. Torvald, I'm not gonna tier him. He's a tank. He's a good heal bot, bubble bot. You have to have healers, all right? Khan, stop asking me to tier Khan. I did it once and another tier list, and I'm not doing it again. But I hope you enjoyed this video. These tier lists are amazing to do, and you guys seem to love these videos, so I will continue doing it as long as I see the support for it. These support tier lists are the best for me. I'm thinking about doing a season 2 full tier list, possibly. It's something I'm going to start working on soon and seeing if it's something that I want to do. It may not be flushed out. It may be pretty simple, but it's something that I might be interested in doing. So let me know in the comments if you want to see a full tier list. But besides that, I hope you enjoyed this video. I also hope you enjoy your day, night, evening, morning, dawn, dusk, or whatever it is where you live. And I will see you in the next one. Later. And a huge shout out to my Patreon supporters, Captain Splashclaw, Joseph Lavsa, and Joshua Blanchflower, and all others. Thank you so much.